There we go. We got some people logging in. Hold on, I got people needing in. Good. Look at that. And yeah, if you're on the Google Hangouts and you happen to see it pop up and somebody has an admin asking for admit, just go ahead and admit them. So I'm not having to necessarily jump back and forth. Thank you those who are coming into Zoom and making sure your mics are muted. We are going to get started. I'm going to give it about 3 more minutes. We've got a bunch of people getting in, coming up from all over, logging in from all over. So we want to make sure that we get started and let people start from the beginning. For those of you that were on yesterday's workshop, we're going to start a little bit with a quick review, but I do have some actual stuff you get to create. I have the sample files. I have stuff for you to use in creating your check-in content. So that's where we're starting, and we'll walk you through that. For the people who are both in Zoom and Google Hangouts, can you just in the chat mark or state what systems your district uses, be it Google, Schoology, Office 365, just so I know a list of what I want to make sure I touch base on? Okay, Google Classroom, Google. Good. Google, good. Google. Thank you for those who are remembering to mute. That's awesome. You guys are all rock stars. Let's see. Blackboard Learning Collaborative. Yeah, that's there's the college level right there. Schoology 365. Okay, so we'll go through, make sure that I touch base on both of those. All right, cool. Google Classroom, great. We're going to be doing the majority of stuff through Google Classroom and Schoology today, since we are focusing on the ability to collect content and stuff like that. Handful more people just jumped in on Zoom. Again, if I just admitted you into the room from Zoom or from Google Hangouts, if you want to post what your school district uses in the chat, it helps me to make sure I'm giving you guys the tools you need. Excellent. More Google Classroom, Google 365. All right. And for those that were in the meetings or in the workshop yesterday, it has been posted to YouTube. You should have gotten an email with the link. It has the links to the slideshow and everything in the description. And as you go back through it and mark where it is, I'll be putting bookmarks in the YouTube video. So it jumps to that specific section if you want to know about something. So today, with it being recorded and stuff, if I'm touching on Google Forms, then after it's all said and done and you go back to watch it, there'll be a link in the description that says, Google Forms. You can click there, so you don't have to scroll or try to watch the whole thing. You can actually just click to the places you need. And that's beneficial. We'll talk about that with Google when we get into YouTube videos on how you guys can do that with content. and everything. Again, less about creating the content, more about using everything that's out there as more and more stuff is being created every day and posted. We've got phenomenal amount of resources that teachers are using, teachers are creating, and so we are definitely not lacking having content, which is really, really good. It helps a lot because then we can focus on, you know, making sure we're providing connections for our kids. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. We've got most people in. We're at about almost 50 people between the two rooms, which is awesome. And again, for those who you know, are wondering, I do have it running from Zoom through another computer into Google Meets, and I'm sharing it that way. Again, because some people do better with Zoom, some people are more comfortable with Google Meets, Google Hangout, and I want to make sure we can access everybody and give everybody the chance to see what's going on. So it allows for that. So today we're going to focus on student proof of work. So yesterday we went over how to connect, what student looks like, what the device is, the student facing, what they're using, how that all looks from their end. And we started a little bit about the check-in, showing examples of types of check-in. Yesterday we went over a lot of that. Today we're going to start kind of right away in jumping in. So again, you know, if you want to keep up and keep going, we're going to go through. If you have questions, please type them. I have no problem stopping in the middle of something and answering somebody's question. On Zoom, you can put your little hand raise up. It's actually easier if you just type it in the chat because I can see it. And so it makes it easier both on Google and on Zoom. So student proof of work. Again, for those that weren't in yesterday, a quick background of who I am and what I do. I currently teach elementary K-5 physical education out in Falcon, Colorado. We're east of Colorado Springs. I have a master's degree in integrating technology in the classroom. I'm a huge, tech and computer nerd. To my wife's dismay, there's so much tech sitting just right around me to do this. Been teaching PE for 10 years, 11 years now. I've always used technology. It's important. It's a tool. So we want to make sure that we're using it. So today, the focus of the workshop, we're going to focus the beginning on the non-login and login based and creating those content check-ins and actually creating them, going through using sample stuff I have in a folder for you guys and actually creating them so everybody has an example. Then we're going to go on to the different type of applications that you can use to get proof of student work. Taking it further than just using a questionnaire in Google Classroom or a Google form and just having them fill it out. Like, how do we actually get them to prove that they're doing something? Then we're going to go into creating the assignments that are meaningful. Again, we're keeping it simple. We're focusing on simple assignments, simple things, simple content, because we are health and physical educators. We're not physical activity instructors. We are not, coaches. We actually have a teaching pedagogy that we have to make sure our students are still getting, and we have to apply that. And then finally, that folds into the importance of the student proof of work. One, for some of us, it's data for our evaluations. For others, it's the connection and value of, making sure our kids are making it through this. And for others, it's so much more. So having that and being able to share that across is important to where we're going. So for those who saw on the outline from the email, this is kind of the breakdown of how we're going to go through it. So you can see the different parts, which helps quite a bit. We're going to start again with the check-in as a review to yesterday to go through that and everything to the second part's the actual creation, to talking about making sure the grade levels, the difference in what we have to do. and then, you know, providing that student support and the realization of why we need it. So student check-in review. We've got a couple of things that you are now going to be doing. So whether you're a secondary or an elementary teacher, we're going to have you guys, you know, use kind of your district guidelines. Hopefully everybody's had a meeting at some point and, you know, or kind of know what their district's expecting. And so what we're going to do is we're going to create both. Everybody, for those who have Google Classroom and Schoology and stuff, we're going to create both styles of check-ins. Everybody's going to create it all the way through. The link at the bottom, the tiny URL link, this one right here, will show up on all the slides. Okay, so if I skip through slides, that is where I've put all the sample files. Okay, so if you follow that link, it takes you to all of the sample files that I'm going to keep putting in and we're going to have, you know, access to today. So we want to make sure that we're using that sample, that link for the sample files. Okay, also within those files, we have, this is another slideshow that I've run, and it's where we're gonna, where we're going to start with your guys' first part. This is the student proof. We're going to be using several different apps, but from the beginning, what we're going to do is we're going to have you create a Google form. Okay. So this is, again, this is a Google form for those in 365. You're going to be making the Excel form. So I will have those both up. So what I want everybody to do is go to their Google Drive, so they can be able to create a Google form. So you're going to go to your new button. We're going to go down to more. You're going to go over to the Google form. Okay, it's in a shared folder. It's what's going to be. So I'm creating this. Now, what I want to do, and what I, you know, for the elementary especially, your first question needs to be their grade level. So grade level, and I want you, as you do each of them, you're going to put a picture of that grade. So our visual learners and the kids that, you know, need that can have a picture to know which one to select. Middle school, high school, secondary, you guys can do this by your plan period or by your periods, or, you know, your sections, and make that so it can go through. So everybody's going to add, and we're going to make just the simple check-in form. And I want everybody just to make the first question. And I know, again, this is review from yesterday. I don't need that. Review from yesterday, but we want to, people got to digest the information. We want to let them be able to try it. So as you see, I'm just going to Google search. I'm typing in the grade. We're putting it on. Same thing you could do if you want to do pictures for your older kids. You know, it can be lifetime activity, strength and conditioning, whatever, you know, you label it as, because we want to use one form to take care of all of our check-ins. If you want to do it just by the period of the day, again, we're not looking for 49ers. The period of the day, you can do it that way. And so we want to make sure that everybody goes through this. And again, a lot of the things we're going to do today, I'm going to do right for you guys so you can see it happening. I don't want to just give you, well, I have copies and stuff like that. and I don't want to just give you each of those. So Angela asked about separating it out to teachers to have it email their teacher within their classroom. Unfortunately, there's not a necessary, an easy way to do that using the notification rules that we talked about yesterday. When this form is submitted, that can be done, but it's going to be, this is your data. It's not necessarily something that you're pushing out to the other classroom teachers or whatnot. So this is just so you know which class you have. Okay, so I've added my 6 grades and I've made it required. Down here at the bottom, it says add section. Okay, I'm gonna click on that. I'm gonna title my first section Kinder. Okay, I am then going to add another section. I'm going to do this for each grade. I'm going to add a section for each grade I have. Now, if I'm teaching secondary, my sections aren't going to be grade levels. My sections may be class. It may be a lifetime activities class. It may be a strength and conditioning class. It may be your swimming class. It may be whatever your content you're teaching if you sorted it out that way. It may be period 1, period 2, period 3. But we want to get those 5 sections or those 6 sections or however many sections you have created. So we now have our sections. Those sections, okay, are important when we go back up to question 1. Selecting on question 1, down here you've got 3 little buttons. You click those buttons, the 3 little dots in Google. Excel has it as well, but they're called branching. You're going to go to section based on answer. You click on the section based on answer. Now I can tell each of my answers, when that's selected, they go to the appropriate section. Now, when you add a section, okay, this is when a form, a single page form, becomes where it has a next button at the bottom. Okay, so if we were to preview this for the moment, again, I selected those, I come up to the eyeball, I preview this. I now have a next button at the bottom. So if I pick Kinder and I pick next, it takes me to the Kinder section. We haven't added anything, so that's what it's doing. This is where we're at so far. Now, we add a question to each of the pictures, or each of the sections. However, here at the bottom, right here, it says after section 2, this needs to be changed to submit form on each section, because we don't want kindergartners to then go to first grade questions, or we don't want the lifetime activity classes to then have to go answer the strength and conditioning questions. We want to make sure that they all submit the forms, okay? Now, if it's something where you guys are following along and everything, if something where it's going too fast, or again, you need help, or you want to see something again, make sure to type it in the chat. I'm going through it in real time, and so if somebody gets lost or confused, I'd rather have a stop and go back, because it's going to be more than just one person. Like every classroom, one person raises their hand, there's about 6 or 7 others who are going, yeah, I wonder that same thing. So we want to make sure that we're focused on making sure everybody gets this. So I have now my sections. You have your sections. Okay, so we're going through your grade levels. You've added those as a one question. We've created their section, so where they go based on their section. We've made it required. We now have the sections for each grade. So within each grade, come up with a check-in question. Now, for kindergartners at this point in the year, I will have them type their name. Okay, first grade, I will have them type their name. So I will do that to each of the sections. Second grade, I may give them 2, and they have to do first name and last name. Third grade's going to be the same. Now, for those who don't want to type each of them, yes, you can click the duplicate. Okay. If you want to create the duplicate and then move it down, you can. And again, yes, you're totally allowed to ask. And again, everything's videotaped, everything's recorded, and it will be posted, so you can go through and go back and watch. For some people, it's overwhelming to just have to sit down and try to follow. For others, there are people who already have their sections created and they're already going on and adding in their questions. I'm just going through the whole process of setting up my first one, so then I don't ever have to do this part of them again, because I can just make copies. And I want everybody to see in real time, taking the time. So, because one thing I've noticed, and throughout the workshops I've done, is that people, when you sit down and read instructions or try to follow through or whatever, it becomes very daunting. And they think it's going to take forever and go through. So we have our sections, my grade level sections, where I gave the answer, I gave the letters. They're going there. And we're now into that. From here, the only other thing that I do as a elementary teacher before I start adding questions at all is I give them their teacher to pick. Okay. And I have them, I make sure it's a multiple choice so they can see it. They have their teacher. So I've made my first grade section. I've given them their name, just to fill in their name. I've now given them their teacher. This is what each of my sections has. Name, teacher. At the high school level, secondary level, you don't necessarily need the teacher because you're their teacher. You don't, you have them in a period. Your grade book is laid out that way. Okay. I'm going to add first grade. And now from here, I'm only going to focus on first grade. I'm not going to do the other 6 because I want you to see the creation of the check-in for one grade. Okay, so we're just going to focus on using first grade. So I'm going to add an image from my Google Drive. I can use it from my computer, camera. If I'm doing it on a mobile phone, I'm going to do it from my Google Drive. And I'm going to use some in the shared folder. So in the shareable resources that everybody has the link to click on to go into, I'm going to use an image. We're going to talk about how to get to those images and how to create those images. Okay. And I'm using other content. This content comes from Captain Pete. It's been shared out, so I'm using other content. So I'm not, creating my own. It's just when the resources have shared, it's let's work together on it. I've now put the image in. Okay, workout 1. Okay, now the thing I like about this one is while it gives 6 different exercises and it says 30 seconds each, my question to them, okay, what exercise did you do? Okay, with the littler kids, it's going to be a multiple. I'm going to pick it. I'm going to let them tell me V-sit, plank hold. We've got half turns, burpees, march in place. Half turn, jump, burpees, march in place. And shoulder stand. That would be the question, and the affective or cognitive would be, which one is your favorite to do? And I can copy these, or I can take it and I can duplicate and change the question, since I want to have multiple choice so they cannot pick all of them. So this is my simple check-in. I go to preview. I'm a first grader. I go next. I type my name, pick my teacher. Okay, I'm with an older sibling or with somebody. I'm doing these to the best of my ability. I liked plank. I liked marched in place. And I did burpees, and my favorite was plank. I've now submitted that answer. Now this has the focus of one, kid being able to do it, 2 kids being able to do it, but they have to answer individually. The other thing is this check-in is on the honor system. The kids, yes, some kids are going to sit down and go, oh, well, they want me to check in. Boom, 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 boom. I've checked in. Check-ins are based on the honor system. You're not, necessarily going to have something where your check-in is proof unless you make that clear in the check-in instructions at the beginning. And so, again, this form, if we're using Google Classroom, I can take this form and I can put it in as a assignment for a daily check-in. I can add from my drive, and I can add that form, which we'll go into, as the assignment. So then using Google Drive, I am now using my login expectations, my login platform for the kids to do their daily check-in. Okay, so that allows that. And same thing can be done from Schoology. Within Schoology, You can assign an outside link. Let me make sure I pull up. Where's my, yes. So from Schoology, okay, when you add material as an outside link, a file or an external tool, okay, I can take my Google form, remember the view form, and I can add it to Schoology. And now when I click on it, now see here, if this comes up, I left it setting because this comes up if in Google Form you do not check the gear and unrestrict. Okay, I want everybody to see this error because if this comes up, that's what it is. We go back, we try it again. There's the form as part of the Schoology platform. Okay, once they've done it, again, I've submitted it through. You will get that information in your Google Sheets and your Google Form response. And then you can handle the check-in expectations from there. Okay, so Google Form check-in. Same setup when you're looking for those who are using Excel and you use an Excel form. You have the same setting up the questions and adding each part from the choices, allowing branching, which then goes to each part. Okay, so the branching options are there just the same. You make the sections you go through. That's for Microsoft Forms. Okay, so again, that's the quick review. So on this, it walks you through. Okay, here are the instructions. There is a video as well. So we have multiple videos. You have multiple step instructions on how to create it and go through. Again, I wanted to say, it's helpful to see it created in real time for some people. Okay. Other people, they want to work on it. So Angela asked, as a middle school teacher, would it be easy to put the periods in, and so when you pull up the spreadsheet, you can look exactly at where they are? Yes, that's going to be the better way to do it. So, just hold on. What I want to do, here is an example. Okay, let's see, is this one? Yes, so here, if you look, this has, I had 3 strength classes I taught at the high school level. I had the students put their name in. They picked their class hour. Since they weren't going to be asked different questions, I just put the questions all on one. Okay, they go through, pick their things. This is after they did their workout, so this is at the end. This is what it looks like. So to look at the results, okay, one, I get to see their names. That's fine. But to look at the data, as Angela had asked, and everything for making sure you help your grade book, I can take the information here and I can change it however I want. See, here's all the kids from first period, the ones from third period, and the one in seventh period that answered it. So I have that with their timestamps of when they answered it. So you're going to find out the way that works the best for you and how you process the data, okay? Everybody processes data differently. Everybody looks at things differently. This is what you're gonna, this is where you take that information from the gradebook. If you're using Google Classroom, it will, mark it in the gradebook there. Schoology, this is where you can go through and go, great, they did this, this is this day, I can go through and give them all. You can organize, you can do different things with the data here. Again, we're gonna get into all of the data collection stuff tomorrow, but I did want you to see a secondary version where, that's where they took care of that. Okay, let me pull that down, bring us back up to where we were. Okay, so on this, again, this slideshow is in that resource folder, and it has, it has the information. I have examples there. So you can see how Google Forms, each of these QR codes, okay, and that's where we're going next, is to make the short code and the QR code. So we've gone through the Google form, our check-in is covered, okay? There's your instructions for the Google form, okay? Michael in Zoom, yes, all of this stuff gets put on YouTube at the end with the bookmarks of where each of the different parts start. So yesterday's video was posted, today's video will be posted as well. It just takes some processing on YouTube's behalf. So QR codes and short codes. This is what we're going to do next. This is what you are going to do. Okay, so you have, I will make sure I'm going to take these links. Okay, I'm going to push them out through the chat. And what I want you to do is a link to anything. You don't have to link it to a file right now. I want you to take these links and I want you to create a QR code and I want you to create a tiny URL to some PE or health related content. Once you have done that, post it in the chat for somebody to follow. I will leave it up on the screen so you guys can see what you need to do. We want everybody to create a tiny URL. And a QR code. So Lindsay, what the difference between creating the form and adding it to Google Classroom or creating an assignment within Google Classroom? So when you make an assignment, you can create a Google form as an assignment. However, not everybody, one, is using Google Classroom as their platform for their learning management system. Some are going to be using Schoology, so it needs to be in the Google Drive. They can link them together. And others don't have an LMS system for their students. So like my my kindergartners, as much as people seem to think that there's a possibility that the kindergarten teachers will be able to do all of this, it makes a difference. Again, it's combining the different tools. So also when you do a Google form, you can actually have it put that directly into the Google Gradebook as well. Not everybody uses that, but you can do that. And yes, it will link their gradebook mark and their grade for it if you have it set up as a quiz and everything, which is the data collection stuff we'll go in tomorrow with how to make Google Forms actually grade it. Right now, we're just working on getting them to put something in and connect with us. So that's a good question because I did double up on the Google Form and then the Google Drive, same thing as I did for Schoology. It happens to be the tools that we're using. So there are a couple of tiny URLs that have been pushed out through the Google Hangouts. Looking to see if anybody from the Zoom has pushed any into the chat. Please visit people's tinies. We're just looking at making sure that we get it. We understand it. We can take care of that. Again, the QR codes, if you're a person who creates content on, they're watching it through a YouTube video or through a Zoom or through Google Hangouts, and the kids have their device in front of them, they can scan it off the screen. So then they can do it right there once they're done. So we want to make sure that everybody has the opportunity. And so what we're going to do as we go through, I know that went kind of quick on the Google Forms. And again, that's why I record it all. So we want to make sure that everybody's feeling comfortable. So hopefully you're feeling comfortable. Hopefully you're at least not feeling completely lost or overwhelmed. Again, we don't want anybody to be overwhelmed. Gary, that's a really cool one. So on Gary from the Zoom, Gary found all the good golf courses around him, which is a great thing to do. But it also did it around me. So instead of being where Gary is, it went to where I am. So if my students live in another part of the city or in a different city than I do, I can share out where they can go. Kara, that's great. I'm glad you're listening and letting it sink in. That's why we record it all. So Gary had a great way to, use a tiny URL to allow his kids to be able to see the areas around him. Some of us are on stay-at-home orders, some of us are not, but that's a great way to use it instead of having to copy that whole link. So that's a really cool one. Thanks for that. Yeah, we got, let's see, Denise put their check-in, so let's jump up. Oh, it's still waiting on loading. So let's see if we can see. So it says your form is restricted up here at the top, Denise. So you might want to check the gear. So the gear setting and check to see if the restrict sign in right here is clicked or not. We want it unclicked and then make sure you hit the save, and hopefully that will help your check-in. For those who you want to check, you want to make sure your stuff works, and you want to see what it looks like if somebody's not logged in. So if I take my tiny URL or I take my web address and I copy it, okay, in whatever browser you're using, the three little dots in Chrome and you go down to an incognito window, or you go to a private window, what that does is that allows you to visit your links with nothing signed in. Nothing signed in at all. So if it's restricted or whatnot, or if it's a broken link like we just saw with Denise's, you can check it to see that it works. Okay, so here she also has that it's recording for upload. Let's see, that's looking really good. She's using the animations. She's adding a file. So if she's doing it with her kids within her district, Google gives you the ability to add a file. Okay, and that's a real simple, laid out, very nice, very easy, very quick to respond. I can do that on a phone really quick. So if we take that and we take that link, so what I'm going to do is, because again, our kids can be on different devices, I'm going to bring it up on my phone. Okay. So it's wanting me to log in to continue to that form, but I would, if I'm part of her school district, we'll see if it lets me. There it is. Now on my phone, I can see and answer all of her questions. I can go through it. Okay. Depending on the day, the not at all is appropriate. So we've got those options. Okay. So that's a great example of how it would look from a student's point of view. Okay, thank you for that. Okay, so hopefully everyone is getting something, seeing something. There's some more URLs going out. That's awesome. That's what we want to see happen. That's taking that step. Okay, so now let's make sure where we're at. We're gonna go on. We also did some Google Classroom there, going over the daily check-ins, creating your assignments, posting your materials. Now with both Schoology, and Google Classroom, they have the assignments set up where, again, we can add assignments. Where'd it go? Okay. Where we have different choices of materials. Okay, so you have your assignments, you have your assignments. Now, those who are using Schoology, those who are using Google Classroom, if you create everything and you're storing it in Google, okay, both of these allow you to add from your Google Drive. Those who are using Schoology and Office 365, it will allow you, if it's been connected, it will allow you to add from your OneDrive. Okay, now that's on your district side that those things are linked together. Okay, now if they're, having an issue, see how mine's deciding it's not being able to show, that's something that I would have to reach out to my district to make sure that that connection is there. However, I can still add, I can create, I can do that stuff in Schoology as well as Google Drive and Google Classroom. So they're both there based on what your district, building, and everything is using. Okay. So in Google Classroom, make sure we're staying on track here. Okay. The login style check-ins for those that haven't yet, okay, or we're working on it. You have your check-in styles. So you can do an assignment as the check-in, okay? You can do quizzes, materials, questions. So Angela had a question. If you do a daily check-in, do you need to recreate it from each day? You can copy it. Okay, so one, it does the timestamp, but two, here, so if I took my Google form daily check-in, I can reuse a post. So now I can click on the class. I want to use this one. I want to reuse it. And now I can name it and change those little things. But I know I'm using that same form. So I'm still collecting that data in the same place. So I'm using that form. When they submit it, it's still going to show up. But that is even if you use other, the Google form was what I had that was I could duplicate. It allows you to do that. So if you, again, you also saw that if I need to use something from another class, okay, I can pick different classes. If I'm creating a single assignment, so when I want to make my day 3 check-in, I'm going to use that. But day 3 check-in is going to go across all my classes. Okay, we want to make sure. Okay, here for learning, nope, I want all 3 of my classes to get this daily check-in question. I now only have to make it once instead of making it 3 times. Now, when I assign it, it gets pushed. There's check-in day 3. If I look here, I go into my test class, there's the new assignment. If I go into my other class, there's that same assignment. Okay, so it does allow you to reuse things. Now that's something that Google has been working on and has worked with lots of teachers. Okay, so again, I'm using just the Google form. And so yes, it will collect in the same spreadsheet. But if I'm using a Google Doc or a slides or a sheet, or I'm just asking a question. So if I were just to use the daily check-in question, okay, I'm going to reuse, I'm going to use that question. I now want to know what your heart rate today was. I'm going to pick it and send it to those. So the forms has the information go to the spreadsheet if you collect it there. And so it allows that to be done. And again, the data collection on the different ways it collects and how that looks, we'll go over tomorrow. Because we can get way, way down the rabbit hole on the different ways it grades and stuff like that. And we want to focus on, taking the next steps of getting proof. So we've used, let's bring it up. We've used non-login style check-in with the Google apps. We've done the login style through Google Classroom and Schoology. I'm not touching on Padlet right now because that will also be used as part of the next step of where we're going. So assignment creation. Okay, we're going under, we're moving away from the check-in. This is actually giving our kids something that they have to turn in, something they have to provide us to do. We've already gone through, and if you're using the LMS, Google Classroom, Schoology, those are really great places to do that. We're going to jump into Quizizz. on that, but we're going to go with the non-login stuff first of creating something that can be shared for the kids to see depending on where you're at. Now, some of you have websites that you run for your school, either through Blackboard or through that, and some of you use the Google Classroom. That's fine. The stuff we're going to create here can be used on all of that. However, some of us don't have a site, and so I'm going to walk you through the setup of a Google site briefly, and then you're going to create a content, and you're going to add a proof to it. How are the kids going to show that they did it? Because we have a couple of steps, but we need to go through. So creating the content we're just going to use in Google Drive. Okay. Yes. And so we're going to go through and under new, everybody has this as part of Google. Okay, you go to more and you go to Google Sites. This allows you to create a website that uses everything in Google and drag and drop. Okay, it's very quick, very clean. It's very simple to go through. Okay, so if you have your images, your links, and you don't have Google Classroom or you don't have Schoology and you still want to put all of your stuff in one place, this is, in all honesty, this is a really clean, easy place to do it. Now, there are other websites out there. You can use WordPress.com. You can use Joomla. You can use Moodle. You can use, I can list off all sorts of different ones. Most education, we deal in Google. This is the easiest way to do it. Okay, so physical education, I want to add pictures. So again, it's like Google Docs, it's like Google Slides, it's just like everything else we use. And what this does, this allows us to put our resources somewhere that the kids can see, the kids can manage, and actually be a part of. And it's easy as moving, pulling, sliding, resizing. Okay, you can add things. If you scroll down here, I can add a YouTube video. So if I want to use a YouTube video, I can have it right there. Now on here, here's today's workout. Here's tomorrow's workout. Google Sites allows you to use a lot of different things. Okay, pictures and everything. Not so worried about going into this, but it's showing you how it can. You want to see what it looks like on a computer, on a tablet, on their phone. This is called a responsive website. It changes based on what's going on. Yes, hold on, guys. I see. Let's see. The Google Hangouts. Hold on. Let me see where we're at. All right, we're going to do it. I'm going to see if I can bring it back up. Well, hold on, guys. All right, you guys got it back up? Yeah, okay. So a button got clicked and it shifted. That's fine. So it was only about 30 seconds of delay there. Sorry, guys. So on Google Sites, okay, you've got it to go through. You're adding your different things. You hit publish. You give it a name. Long names mean longer thing to type. Short names mean shorter thing to type. Long names can be shortened. We just learned our tiny URL. Here, where it says who can view my site, you want to make sure that you change it under published. Okay, anyone can find the published version. Because otherwise, if you are not logged in with a Shape Colorado account, you will never see this website. Okay, so you want to make sure that anyone can find the published version of your website, so then your students don't have to be logged in, they can access it. You save it, you hit publish. I want to view the published site. Okay, and I want to check to make sure that it works without me logged in. I open the incognito window. I'm not logged into anything. It let me see it. Okay, so Lindsay, question, name it again. When you click on publish for the first time, it will ask you to name it. Okay, it's not going to let me name it now because I've already published it. Here's what it brings up. It brings up the publish setting when you hit publish for the first time, and that's where you give it its address. And if you look here, that's where it is. Okay. Okay, so Lindsay, no, that's fine. You can send a screenshot through email and we can touch base on it after just to figure out why yours may or may not be grayed out. So that's a Google site in a nutshell. Again, there are people out here who have been doing Google Sites and they've been running them, and that's where they have all their stuff. It's great. It's awesome. I'm in no means wanting to, show you how to do all of it. It's showing you the place to start. All right. So collecting content for your students on a non-login style. So we've done the Google Forms, we've done that. Now I need to see that my elementary kids are doing something. I need to make sure that they are staying moving, they're staying active. And what I have done with my kids is I have actually in class worked with them, and we've practiced in class using Padlet. Okay, now for those who have never seen Padlet or have ever heard of Padlet, okay, Padlet is the online dashboard. It is free to sign up. Okay, so if so you can sign up. There are a couple of things about it, but what it does is it allows me to interact with my kids. You can sign up. I use my work account, my work email. So I'm going to log in using my work account. Now, on their free account, you can only have 3 active Padlets at a time. Now, I've used it a bunch of different times with my kids, and I can go back in and I can unarchive it if I want to see it, but I can only have 3 active at a time. And in a Padlet, you set up different ways, and then the kids can use their devices to add to it. And again, you don't need an account. And in fact, what we're going to do is we're going to have everybody add to a Padlet I create here. So I've joined Padlet. I'm part, I have Padlet on here. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a Padlet. You have a couple of choices: the wall, the canvas, the stream. These are just how they look. I like the shelf because with my kids, I'm going to have them do it by grade. So I'm going to select shelf. It's going to give me choices here down the side. And I'm going to name it, provided things, addresses, wallpaper. I'm going to leave a lot of this normal. Okay. Again, you can, with kids, we can, set the filters for profanity and stuff like that. You can change the background. They use your own pictures, use your own text, all sorts of different things. Okay. You're going to go next. We're going to start posting. Now I'm going to name the first column cardio. Okay. Name the second column flexibility. And there's a chance that, knowing me, I potentially, there we go. I know somebody was going to, point that out. Endurance and strength. Okay, so these are what I want my students to post on. So now I want to make sure it's shared. Okay, I have a couple of different ways I can share it. One, Padlet can link to Google Classroom, so I can share it there. I can grab the link and put that as part of a post. I can use the QR code and I can have you scan that. So if I could get people to scan that, and I will leave that up. Now you scan that. Now it may give you the option to log in. It may give you the option, you don't need to log in. Your students don't need to log in. I'm going to take it down. I'm going to grab the code just so I can show you. I'll put that back up. Okay. I want you to see what it looks like. Okay. I don't need to log in. I don't need to share. I can click and now I can add something. So I would like everybody to add something to one of these columns. Now you click on the three little dots. You have a lot of different options on what you can add. Again, we're not signing in. If you are on a mobile device and it asks you, you can always continue as guest. That's what you need. So everybody add something to the Padlet. You can search from Google Images, you can take a picture, you can put a voice recording, you can draw, but everybody take a second and add something, and let's fill this Padlet up a little bit. And as people are adding, they now see the different things. We're filling it in. Okay, things are being filled in. Some people just typed a phrase. Some people are doing pictures. It will be uploading a video. It may be adding a graphic. Okay. So you guys are adding, and I can do proof of this. Now, again, if I want, if I want one of my students and I want them to focus on providing an actual example, they can submit a picture. And it will upload and update as it goes. And it's updating as every single person is posting. Okay, so this allows everybody to make those submissions. Okay, for there, see there, I took it, okay, so case in point, there's, a picture proof of what it looks like where I'm sitting and everything I'm having to work on. Okay, so you have that ability. Now, if you look at the ones that are, if anybody posts a video, you can make it, you can play it, you can start it, you can pause it. But also, when you go to add something and say you're taking it from your folder, a GIF, an animated file, as one of our teachers attempted to wall run. An animated GIF will provide a video to follow. Okay, you want proof, that a kid did something, or on the do 10, give 10, you show, a GIF of doing 10, then you can give a GIF. Now, for those are, a GIF is an animation. There are applications out there. When you do camera, there are also applications, and I have them as links. Let me pull one up. Make a GIF online. If you have different ways you can actually create, and it'll let you create up to a 10-second GIF for free through different ways. So if you want to take pictures and link them together, so then it creates an animation. For those who've ever used Giphy, or for those who have ever used any of the other GIF styles, okay, if you can make the GIFs and then you can use them. It saves on bandwidth, it saves on data. So if we're doing stuff where we want to show our kids, and we'll get into that with Quizizz, show our kids content and want them to provide proof of it and everything, having them see it that way helps as well. Okay. So this epic wall can, be updated until I make the decision Okay. That one was done. Great. We're done with it. I archive it. That was today's Padlet. Tomorrow will be a different Padlet. So I can keep them going. So how do you know? So a question came up for those who saw it. What you would do is you would set the instructions. So and when I do with my kids, when they do the title, okay, so we'll do this, marching step. Then I would have the students, the only kids you're going to see that day or for that class hour, you have them mark it and claim ownership to it, put ownership on it. And that would be, again, the way. Now, I can honestly tell you that as a tech kid, I look at this and go, great. I can do that without actually having to do anything. I can be the kid that sits on the couch and can bowl a 300 on the Wii without ever getting up off the couch. We're only trying to provide enough for the kids, especially if they're showing the animated GIF of them, then hopefully your kids well enough that you know who they are with just by seeing them. Now, when it comes to the security of our kids, yes, Angela, there is, when you set up the Padlet here at the very bottom, one, you can make it require approval. So they can post it, but then you can go in and say yes or no. Okay. And here you can filter the bad words and inappropriate content through there. So yes, there's that way to stop that. I had a couple of high schoolers try one time, had those set. It says, well, it needs to be checked before it can be approved. The other thing about this is if you look, okay, let me make sure. Here, so under share, if you look here, secret, okay, it is hidden from public, which means I had to give you guys the link. I had to provide you with the link or the QR code. There are several different. If you want to make sure that to protect your students and everything else, you can actually give a password where they have to have a password. Okay. So you have ways to protect your students, protect your content. So then it's not, just out there and anybody can go and find it. Because again, this is for us, for our content, for us to provide proof. Okay. You can also decide what a visitor can do. Okay. So again, I'm allowing write access. I'm allowing write access because I don't want people to have to log in. I don't want to, if I share it on Google Classroom, that changes the game because then they're from Google Classroom, they're doing that. I can then export as a PDF or as something else because now in this exporting of this is a great example of how to provide content proof that a whole class submitted something, or you need an artifact for an evaluation. Okay, I now have a printout that shows everybody's post, and I can now provide that for my administration, for anybody who cares to see that kids were, we were working. All right, so it gives us that ability. Then you can also save it as an image and it takes the whole thing, and then you can post that as, hey, look what everybody else did. All right, so you've got some options there. You've got some things you can do. Okay, so again, this allows me to get content from my kids. Okay, while I asked everybody just to post stuff, I could also say the expectation is everybody. So there's the GIF. It made the GIF. I can download the GIF. I can save the GIF, and now I can use the GIF. And we'll talk about GIFs in as much as I'm saying GIFs when we get to some to Quizizz. So this allows me to collect from a non-login point of view. Okay, this allows me to collect proof of student doing. I have Padlets that have students posting videos of them doing it from when, let's see. Oh, let's see. So here we go. So I had kids that they took pictures as they're going through. Here's, their proof that they built, the tall hula hoop towers. Okay, so I had them, here's some videos. So they put in the video of them doing a catch. So now I can see that they actually did it. All right, so this allows them to submit all of those different things, and I can now at least see that my kids are doing stuff. Okay. Yes, Padlet does do the same thing. I can take an Excel spreadsheet, and I'll show that I clicked on that way real fast. So if you go to share and then go down to save Excel spreadsheet, it then provides the information. Okay, so if you're, again, some school districts, they have the logins with the kids, it'll show who did it, but it will also provide that information. Flipgrid is another one that was brought up. There's a lot of teachers. I know a lot of STEM teachers and everything that does Flipgrid. Flipgrid is similar to Padlet. In fact, our STEM teacher at my school has our kinders through fifth grade all using Flipgrid. And that's something they've actually been using from the beginning of the year. So they built into that, they have that, but it is very similar, but not everybody, will sit down and has the time to learn. And the schools may or may not have logins for Flipgrid. Flipgrid, has some of the same things, but I know that each of the kids have to log in. So that takes a little longer. Here's somebody who did a video challenge. So they laid out exactly what needs to happen on, okay, so what they need it to be. So they did the activity here, okay, and so they can show the whole video, and they even gave all the rules and expectations. Okay, working as a team. So this allows those kids to submit. Again, can be used on any device. I pulled it up on my phone. It allows me to do it on your phone. Some people did it from their mobile device. It worked. It gives what we need it to do. Okay. So again, that's Padlet. Yes, there is the limitations of only having a couple of sheets available at a time, but if you archive it, you can go back and you can unarchive once it thinks about it. It still thinks it's there. There we go. Come on. And again, it wants to think that I only have two. Allow me to, there we go. It allowed me to open an old one and see, here's one that my kids did. They were given exercises. They had to show the exact way to do the exercises. Okay. They had to record, and this happened in class. So I used my iPads that I have, and I had them record. They were given an exercise, and they had to do a demo of it. Okay, take pictures of it. So this is me doing a check-in to see what they know. Not only can they create the content, can they put it in the right place, and can they work together? Okay, can they take the time to work together? Okay, so they're going through. So that's an example of students using, and I mean, they did hundreds of them. So that's an example of it going through. Okay, so that's Padlet, and that's, going through creating that. Again, the creation of those things in Google Classroom, in Schoology, those are there as well. You're able to get the data when you create an assignment within Google Classroom. Okay, one, you can create the assignment under create. You can actually create the expectations here. Okay, if I want them to show me the making 4 good catches of a ball, I can have them do it in any, in docs or slides, because as my instructions, catch a ball, turn in video of 5 catches. In Google Slides. I create the Google slide. This is the 5 catches. Add video to slide. I have them create a new slide. It can be a blank one. And okay, they can use their camera. They can add media. All right, here's your video. It can be done from a device. Okay, they can upload a video that they have in their Google Drive that they've saved because they've recorded it on their device, and it gets put in to the Google Slides. Some videos take a little longer to process than others, but then it gets put in and they can turn it in. So this is the example. Okay, I save that. So I go back, students, make copy for each student. For those who've never used Google Classroom, anytime you make an assignment that you're using your master copy, this right here, make copy for student, is vital. Okay, it allows every kid to get their own copy. So you're not having people mess or students change or adjust your master copy. Anytime you assign something, make copy for each student. If you want the students to create their own thing and you just want an instruction file, view file, then they can read it. They can't edit it, they can read it. That becomes how they can see the instructions. Make copy from each student. You fill in the rest of the information. You assign it, and now they can see that. They can go through, and as a student, I can look at that assignment. Here's from the student view. I open it. I see the video. I know I have to add my own. Okay, I don't have any, but I know that I posted it because I share my videos with my friends. I'm going to post it and it's going to go in. There's the video of me working out, okay, or me doing the 5 catches. Our kids do a lot of recording. They do a lot of sharing of files. They do a lot of sharing of pictures. They have those things. Okay, so when you're doing this, yeah, I'm sure, Lindsay, making the copy and then have the kids mess with the file. Then they're done. I mean, they've created it. Okay, they've done their assignment. They're ready. Okay, they turn it in. As soon as they turn it in, for those in Google Classroom, Schoology is the same way. Okay, they can no longer edit the file. Once you've had them turned into an assignment, something that's proof that they've done it, they get view only because they can't go back in and change it. They can get that once we, as the teacher, have graded it. Okay, for those who want to see, it's shown that one is turned in. I'm ready to check it. Okay, again, we'll go over this tomorrow in the data of grading and making sure all the things that it has. Okay, grading it through. I see that they did it. I provide the grade. I return it. I've now just done a student proof check-in, and the student has seen that it's been graded and what they got. So that allows all of that to be done. Okay, they see it's been graded. If I had any comments, questions, concerns, I can do that right there. So that allows me to do everything. Again, Schoology is similar in the fact that, make sure I pull it up. When you turn stuff in, they turn it in, it gets graded. Okay, you can, okay, you can then see that they've received it or go through. This is an activity where I wanted the students to share the Padlet to prove what they did throughout the summer. So this would be how I would post it within Schoology. So then I could get that student proof check-in. Okay, the students would then be able to scan this and go out and work, and then I can see, and when I see it, I say, they can say we've turned it in. They could mark that they've completed it. And so then that allows them to also take ownership in where it goes, okay, and how it gets turned in. Because for some of our older kids, yeah, I submitted it, but I sent the picture, but I really didn't check anything else. Well, if you don't check anything, I can't, verify or, say that you did do it, because the LMS platform has its own grade book. That's something that was just part of it. Okay. So login style, non-login style, a lot of them are similar back and forth. Okay. One more. Bear with me. You guys are doing awesome. This one is a little more of a game style. Okay, so there are people who have used Kahoots. There are people that have used similar or have ever been out and done the trivia style game sessions out at local venues. This is one, and this is great for physical education as well, because it's another one where tons of platform have been made. So this is called Quizizz.com. So Quizizz.com, this is free. Okay, it is free. I have not run into any access issues or anything. It can be used both as a non-login and a login check-in. This is more of a cognitive based check-in. However, you can actually give your kids challenges of stuff to do as well. Okay, so I'm going to show you what it looks like, and then I'm going to show you what I've done with it. In Quizizz, and yeah, it's a mouthful to say sometimes. You have the opportunity to search right off the get-go for anything that people have already made. There are 197,000 results that have physical education as part of it. Okay, I can filter it, okay, by number of questions. I can have duplicates removed. Sorry about that. I can even go as far as making only elementary school level questions show up. Now, I'm not worried about you creating the content just yet. You can, but there's stuff out here. Okay, so say I want to use this question set. It's 6 questions. There they are. I can do a couple of things. I can save it as a collection so I know I like it. I can save it and make a collection. Okay, I can edit, which means I want to add my own stuff, or I can just use it as it is. Now, you have a couple of ways that you can do this, okay, from this dashboard. Knowing our kids are not going to be able to play it all at the same time, assigning it as homework is vital. Okay, so you click on assign as homework. Now, this is for the non-login style. You set the time and date when it stops. Okay, you have some settings down here. How many times can the kids take the quiz? Do you want it to show the answers? Do you want it to show all the answers after they're done? Here's where the game comes in. Is there a timer? Yes, I want them to answer it as fast as possible. I want a leaderboard to show up. Okay, the power-ups, and we'll play with that. I want it to shuffle, so if 2 kids are playing next to each other, they don't get the questions in the same order. I also want the answers to not be in the same place. Now, we're having to deal with multiple choice and multiple select answers. That's all we really get, true, false as well. But I want them to be in different places. Now, the redemption question. Do I want to allow them to retry something they missed? Do I want it to play music? Not so much because everybody's on their devices. Do I want to show funny memes? Okay, yes, that's fine. This is all education focused, so everything is clear. I'm hosting the game. Okay, I can share it via Google Classroom if I have it set up. Or I would like everybody to go right here in a browser on your phone, doesn't matter. Go to joinmyquiz.com. Okay, joinmyquiz.com. I will leave this up. The link right here, okay, is 80 is the game code. This is your game code, 809223. So this information, even if I just go as simple as using my snipping tool and I grab it as an image and I copy it and I now add it to anything I'm using. So if I want it to be part of my daily check-in and I add an image, okay, I can add it, or I want it to be part of my slideshow, I can add it, and it allows me to do this. Now, a homework means that this is all I'm going to see. Everybody's going to submit, you're going to go through whatever. This is the homework. This is the way, so a kid who gets up early in the morning can do it versus a kid who is, doesn't get to use tech until the afternoon. This will work. However, with you, we are going to do a live quiz. Okay, so within my quizzes, I have created different ones. And going back to the content creation of GIF animations, I've actually created ones that I've used the moving images. We are going to play this live. There's only 20 questions. Okay. It's going to be, we're just going to do the basic. Okay. I want a timer. No, we're not going to use the timer. So what it is what I would do with my kids. Okay, so on your device, please go to that address. Please punch in that game code. When it asks for your name, please put your grade level and your initials. Okay. You can make it so you can give your kids their own names. In my classes, a lot of my kids, when we do stuff like this, have superhero names. So I have a spreadsheet that is my class lists, and they've all chosen some sort of superhero name. So when we do this, they can punch in their superhero name. So if I could have, we had 5 or 6 people who could open this up on their, you can do it on your computer. You can do it on a device. Take your pick. Again, this is one of those things that you don't need an app. It can be done across any platform. Okay, any platform. And so we've got people in. Now on the homework, it's just going to send you to do it. It's going to let you do it at your own speed. Okay, the 9 of us that are in here now, 10. Okay, we're going to see who can get the most points going through the questions. So I'm going to hit start. It's going to give a countdown on everybody's screen. It shows the leaderboard on mine. Okay, you are picking. So this one focuses on picking what type of exercise. Okay, and the faster you go, you can have it set up so the faster you go, the more points they get. And so as we're whipping through, it shows you live and in person as the teacher what it is. Okay, it shows you the ones being missed. It shows you where it's going. Okay, I can also, as the teacher, I can watch questions and it's showing which questions people are getting wrong or right. Okay, it's showing possibilities. If you get moving too fast, it tells you to slow down. Okay, if you whip through it, it's showing, the difference. It's showing currently on my phone, it shows I'm in 3rd place. Ooh, I get a power up. Okay, oh, geez, my next question is not going to be worth 2 points. Okay, to twice as many points. So, wow, you've got all sorts of different things. We've now just made this. Okay, we made this competitive. We've now made this proof of learning. We've now made it to do this. Now, with these movements, however, I have also taken the ability, and because of those animated GIFs, I go, okay, before you answer the question, you need to do 10 of those exercises. Now, again, it's an honor system. My kids know that that's what we worked on in class. They've done it in class. That's what I'm giving them. Okay. So it's giving the ability. Selena, if your questions are not showing up, hit the refresh. Sometimes depending on internet connections, it may have to reconnect it. So you can refresh the app for the questions. Okay. The picture is the question, and you're having to decide what it is. I'm using this as a knowledge instead of a, fill in the blank or giving them the words. This works really well for my younger kids. This works really well for my kids who need to see the movement going. My kindergartners, like these. Again, the questions can get challenging depending on what you pick, but there's a wide range of different different questions, different content. I've even reached out with classroom teachers. Well, we're learning about this, so I will do this and I'll sneak a question in that, helps for cross-curricular focus. And so it allows those different, different tries. Oh, let's see. I got a redemption question. CJ is rocking it with points here. And so we're going through. But this is something now, depending on how long it takes, to answer the questions, you at least know that they're focusing on something. You've now entered their world. They like the game setting. They like the ability to use power-ups. They like the ability to do this. Now, if I'm doing this at the high school level, it was great or in the secondary level, it was great for reviews. Because what I would do is if we were wanting to review the cognitive assessment, I would have them play it, and then if they missed anything, they would have to try it again. And so even though for some of us we have to play this a couple of times to figure out what exactly needs to happen, but it gives us that ability. And so the kids now, I could be looking at the person next to me and we're not getting the same questions. Okay, I can play this as a homework and then give it to my little brother, and my little brother can play it. Okay, so this is more of that cognitive, getting the data, collecting the data, all the way through. Now, because we got a couple people, I'll let them finish their last two questions. See if we get anybody who gets a solid answer. So we've got people who have finished. 11,000 points is the highest one we're at right now. Can anybody catch that? CJ's got the possibilities. Probably going to need to get they're probably going to need to get the next ones right. It shows a couple of people in streaks. Okay, and now the game is ended. So I ended it across everybody. It shows who's got first, everything like that. And it even gives me the percentage of people, which questions they got wrong, which questions they got right. How fast did they answer it? Okay, so this is providing a lot of data. Now, using the animated GIFs, when I create a quiz, and I create a new question, it's just a matter of using the media. I can also give them audio, okay? I can bring in audio clip and record, okay? So now I need you to do, we need you to do 10 jumping jacks. Now, because I have my headphones set up somewhere else, it didn't pick it up. But I can add audio instructions to the question. So you have the kids that can't read the question or the younger ones who need that help. You've given them that ability. When I pick the image I use, I'm going to make sure I find something, and I'll show you how to search for animated GIFs. Okay. I can even add I can hit all the learning domains to pull this off. I only want two. So you know what? I'm going to trash this one. I'm going to take that one out. Okay. I hit save. There's the question. Okay. I can create my own. Finished my quiz. Set the grade level. I've now created it. But again, there's so much here as resources that you don't need to try to create something from scratch. Okay, it's not needed to create something from scratch. There's so much stuff out there that people have already created on these platforms that even college level ones, I want the grades, I want everything to be university. Okay, So all subjects. And so the physical education at the university level, not a lot of options. High school, okay, here's reviews. Okay. It says this is a 9th grade review. Okay, there's a 9th through 12th grade. So it allows for a lot of things. Now, you know that how long it takes to take those quizzes is. You guys watched do 20 questions. That's getting proof of work. That's getting proof of kids, doing it. Again, we're physical educators. We're not just about the activities. That doesn't mean you can't make one of these that says, which of these did you do today? Or, again, like I had it where with mine, because I can even take, let me see, where's my animated flashcards? So these actually have the names to it, and I want to edit it. I can actually now give them instructions. 10 times, then guess. Then pick what it is called. Okay, so now they now have instructions. I can then even add an audio and tell them the audio to it. So we can give them ways. You want to be the person who is in the animation GIF, you record yourself doing the movement, you turn it into the GIF file. You can be the one right here instead of my little stick figure, my little animation guy. Okay. These animations, though, however, I have put in that resource folder. So in the sample folder that I shared with that link in the GIFs, I've put several different ones. Okay, so we have some that you can make them from videos. Okay. Again, there are people making the content. Let's use it. I've also gone through and added all of the little ones that were actually off of this full GIF. So I went through years ago and I cut each of those little animations out. And so that's where I use those animations from. All right. So you have that ability. Take it at your own pace, do it on your own speed. That's important. Okay. So grade level expectations. Elementary school, simple interaction, simple instructions. Okay, if I'm working with all my kids and I can tell the instructions in that sentence and a half, that's what I need to make sure is on the content. I've done a lot of pre-training with my kids. They know what to expect. Timeline. I see my kids once every 4 days. Our schedule for my classes is going to be once every 4 days. So we want to make sure that we're doing that properly. We're following that expectation. Okay, so we're going through, oops, sorry about that. Yes, you can have the Quizizz send the results to Google Classroom if they have the logins and all of that. However, again, you would have to go back and look and compare the data otherwise. And so again, it's a lot of figuring out what tools are going to provide the support we need. So for those at the elementary level, I'm not sure what your schedules end up looking like, but this is what our schedule is looking like. So our classes have different colors for each day. Okay, so if it's a silver day, I will see 3rd grade first grade, and a kinder that are expected to go to my website and do something. Okay. It is also, we have an enrichment time. So this was traditionally when classroom teachers had a double plan to meet, and when admin needed to meet with them. So we saw them in the morning as well on a certain schedule. So on Wednesdays for the next couple of weeks, we are going to be having basically an all school online art activity as the enrichment. Thursday, I will have an all school email activity as well. So let's see, hold on. Yeah, Google Hangouts, we see. It says it's still presenting. Is there anybody else in Google Hangouts who cannot see the screen? Angela, it might be on your end. We'll see if somebody comes back. So we have our setup like this. High school, you're going to be, secondary, you're going to be see them every day or whatever your school schedule is up to. Okay. And again, that's on your school, your admin and everything to take care of making sure that is defined. Same thing with instructions. Think about if you're doing it, what steps do you need? What did you need to do to be able to do this? Okay. So you make it, you try it, it takes you through it. You make it, you try it, it takes you through it. That's the instructions you give the kids. Okay. Because eventually some kid's going to come back saying, hey, this was quicker, or hey, I did this. Let them learn it with you. Okay. Tell them, hey, we're trying this, we're making it. Make sure the expectations at elementary, I'm making sure the expectations for what I need them to show me is clear. A kindergartner submitting a video of them doing jumping jacks, for me, that works. That's proof that they did it. A high schooler using Train Heroic, or they have a lifting in their, in their garage, or they're outside doing soccer drills because they're on the soccer team, and they send me a time-lapse video that's sped up, so it's 30 minutes down to 30 seconds. That works for me. That's proof. But making sure your students know what those proof needs to look like. Okay, and responding. Elementary, sometimes you don't have the login style. So how you're going to respond, or how you're going to talk about, interact with the kids, that becomes a little different. A lot of our elementary teachers are doing videos where they're recording themselves or audio and giving a daily, good morning message. High school or the elementaries that have the logins, your feedback and responses are almost instant. Okay, they can go back and forth very quickly. Again, student support. If you get stuck with something, help them through it. They get stuck with something, you're gonna help them through it. Okay, try to also look at what other classes are doing. If your classroom teachers are doing things, see what they're doing and try to do it the same way. Okay, do it the same way, so then it's consistent across the board. Okay, it really allows for that to happen. Same thing with the open-ended options. Giving them the ability to choose how they're going to provide you that proof helps. Giving them the ability to provide you different types of proof help. Okay, and also a big thing, a lot of our students, they need that effective domain connection. So having a question that shows what how they're feeling that day, what did they do that day, what was something that was hard, what was something that you don't know about them, what was a sport that they're doing, what's an activity that they like to do. Those meaningful questions allow them to feel connected. It gives them the understanding that somebody is still worried about them. Some of our kids don't get that. So we, if we can keep that up, we can help, help that all. So, okay, we're coming up on the end. Tomorrow's workshop is going to be more of going into the grading, the collecting of data. So if you look, so Gary, the drive, if you look right at the bottom there, that tiny URL takes you right to So you capture that link. I'll actually include that link when I send out the email with the video. That takes you to where all those information is, and I'll make sure everything's in there. But tomorrow is going to be data, is going to be going, okay, we've gotten this from people, we've gotten this from our students, what do we do with it? How does it go into a grade book? What does the grade book on Schoology look like? What does the grade book on Google Classroom look like? What is the grade? How am I going to use a Google form response sheet to input into PowerSchool? What's my, what's the expectations? Well, my district's saying we're not grading anything. So how do I still collect data? How do I provide challenges? We're going to go over that tomorrow. Okay, so that's kind of where we're ending. That's where we're at. I know that was a lot of information. Again, the videos will be posted as soon as they're done processing and everything. If for the next 10-15 minutes, if you want to throw questions out in the chat, I can go through and answer those because we did go through a lot of stuff. I still want to make sure that you have the ability to ask questions that you're thinking of right now. If you don't have any questions or you need to process, great, we'll see you tomorrow. You can always email me with questions and everything. So I will, because I realized I didn't add that on here. I will make sure I bring up the one with the email addresses. So let me take just a second. And all right. So actually, if we're just gonna do this, we'll add it to the end of that. So any questions? And there we go. For anybody who has email questions, need to email out. If you have any questions, I'm watching both chats. So Christy, with the YouTube links, unless it's 13, a student is 13 thoughts, what you can do is you can actually have your videos. You can use a YouTube downloader or videos. You can put them in a Google Drive, and then you can just use the links there to have students click on or access. So there you can hold those files, those videos somewhere else instead of using YouTube. Yes, thank you guys. No problem on, providing information. There are a whole lot. Yes, there are a lot more options. We can do some pretty cool stuff. You're welcome. Yes, lots of welcomes. Thank yous and welcomes. Thank you for those who were on the Zoom, and thank you for those who participated in the Quizizz and actually, went for a score. That was awesome. So yeah, and we have people wrapping up. There's still the files on there. So again, if you have questions after this, feel free to email me directly. If you have questions 2 weeks from now, please email me. I want to make sure that everybody is getting what they need because again, a lot of people can do content. This is how we collect that proof of it. So. Any other, oh yes, let's see, any other questions, concerns? Anybody would need to see anything? Anybody want me to bring something back up? Gary, I will email out as soon as I have the video live because it is a 2 hour long video. It takes a little bit of processing. So it usually takes, I usually have it up within the next hour, hour and a half. And then I'm working on putting in the links, but the video will be up to be watched probably in the next 2 hours at max. Again, it's a lot for YouTube to process. I've got a great connection speed, but they still have to process it. It does upload at a standard definition, and then after it takes usually overnight, and they then have the high definition, the high quality version of the video. Let's see, anybody other questions? People are dropping out. So hopefully everybody gets to get out and can go get some fresh air and can get moving around. There's clearly a lot of being pent up inside. So thank you those who sat down and went through this. And again, I hope you got something. The goal is that everybody always gets something. So get something out of this, something to use. Let's see. Yeah, participation. There's still some people still kicking through. Granted, in Zoom, 4 of those are me. So we got only 4 or 5 people still in Zoom. So all right, and again, thank you everybody. I hope you have a good evening, and we will do same time tomorrow. The invite for that will be going out shortly.